A very good morning, dear students. Last time we have started with the lesson animal classification, and in that we have finished up to traditional system of classification of animals. So today we are going to study about the criteria for new system of classification. Now, though it is not included in your syllabus, you need to know these criteria because when we will be dealing with each of these phylums, you should be able to know certain keywords. That is why we have to study about the new system of classification. So for that, there are different criteria, and the first criteria is grades of organization. You know that all the living organisms are made up of cells, and depending upon the number of cells, organisms are divided into two different groups, that is unicellular animals or unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Right now we are talking about animals, so they are unicellular animals and multicellular animals. Now, in the case of multicellular organisms, there are different organs which performs different functions. There are organ systems which are made up of organs, and these organ systems perform various types of functions. Whereas a single cell also performs various kinds of functions. Okay, so a single cell can perform all the functions, that is respiration, intake of food, that locomotion or movement, then excretion, digestion. All the processes are carried out by a single cell. Now, when these single cells do not have the presence of more than one cell, only one cell is there. Therefore, this type of organization is also called as protoplasmic grade organization. Now, a protoplasm is nothing but a cell without a cell membrane and a cell wall. That means it will include what? Cytoplasm, the other cell organelles and the nucleus. So this performs everything. This protoplasm performs everything, and such type of organization, grade of organization, is also called as protoplasmic grade organization. Fine. So now let us see, in the case of multicellular animals, what are the different types of organization. Now, in case of multicellular animals, suppose there are cells, number of cells are there, many number of cells are there, but these cells have not yet formed tissues. Then this type of organization will be called as cellular grade organization. Here only cells are there, number of cells are many, not one, many are there, but no tissue formation has taken place. So in this case, it is called as cellular grade organization. So all the poriferans show cellular grade organization. Phylum Porifera, we will be dealing with this today itself. Okay, that shows cellular grade organization. Then we have cell tissue grade organization. Now, in this case, cells comes together to form tissues with the help of which all the body functions are performed. That means now cells are there, cells have formed tissues, but these tissues are not yet well developed, and therefore this type of organization is called as cell tissue grade organization. And this is shown by all the cnidarians, or also called as coelenterates. You can see the example here. This is one of the coelenterate or cnidarian. We are going to deal with cnidaria today itself. Okay, then now tissues are formed, but tissues are not organized to form some organs. Tissues are there, okay, well developed tissues are there, but these tissues are not developed into organs. So this type of organization is also called as tissue grade organization. It has been shown by complete organ systems are not formed in this case, only tissues are there. So it is seen in the case of platyhelminthes, okay, or flatworms. Platyhelminthes is one of the phylum, okay, which consists of all the flatworms. Okay, so this type of body organization, that is tissue organ grade organization, is shown by platyhelminthes. Next, animal belonging to this group, that is organ system grade organization. Next is after tissue, now we have organ system grade organization. That means now tissues have well developed organs, and organs have already formed different types of organ system. Like for example, in the higher animals they have the presence of respiratory tissue, respiratory system, digestive system, excretory system, muscular system, circulatory system. All these are called as organ systems. So that means they have the presence of well developed organs which have joined together to form the organ system. So that performs specific functions. So this type of organization is called as organ system grade organization, and it is not only shown by human beings but also by different animals. Like other examples you can see like frogs, crab, and other higher animals like fishes and all show organ system grade organization. Okay, now next criteria, this was the first criteria, that is grades of organization. Now the next criteria is body symmetry. Now you might have heard about the body symmetry. In the case of geometry you might have learned. Okay, that means what is body symmetry? If suppose in imaginary sense, if the body of any animal is cut through imaginary axis of a body, it may or may not produce two equal halves. Okay, suppose if we are taking into in imaginary sense, if the body of animal is cut through any imaginary line, suppose if we try to cut ourselves into two parts, then here the axis of symmetry will be in this manner. So either it may be cut, some animals may be cut into exactly two halves, or it may not be cut into exactly two halves. So when such a body is there, okay, when it cannot be cut, then it will be called as asymmetrical type. Whereas the one which can be cut into two halves, there may be bilateral symmetry or radial symmetry. Now in the case of amoeba is amoeba or all the protozoans you see, they cannot be cut into two halves, exactly two halves. Okay, and therefore such type of organisms are called as asymmetric type of organisms. Then human body can be divided into two equal halves. So this can be, they are called as symmetrical. Okay, they are called as symmetrical. So accordingly we have different types of symmetry. So body symmetry of animals can be of three major types. One is asymmetrical body, as in the case of amoeba, bilateral symmetry, as in the case of human body or other higher animals, and radial symmetry, as in the case of starfish. Okay, let us see each one of them. Now asymmetrical body means in animals with asymmetrical body, there is no imaginary axis. You try to cut from any angle, you will not get any equal halves. Two halves will not be getting. So such type of symmetry is called as asymmetrical body. Okay, fine. So amoeba you can see, paramecium also cannot be cut into exactly two halves. Fine. Then other organisms are amoeba, paramecium, or sponges, which you are going to learn now, which belongs to the phylum Porifera. Next is bilateral symmetry. In this type of body, there is only one such imaginary axis of the body through which we can get two equal halves. So that is this way. Laterally you can see. Bilateral means laterally you can cut the organism, and therefore it is called as bilateral symmetry. Next we have examples of bilateral symmetry. You can see insects, and insects you take fish, frog, bird, human beings. Okay, all these have bilateral symmetry. Whereas radial symmetry, in this type of body, if the imaginary cut passes through the central axis, okay, that means from the center, suppose this is an organism, okay, from the central axis, if you can draw any imaginary line, but any plane, from any plane if you cut like this, okay, it will give exactly two halves from the central axis, and in any plane if you cut, you will exactly get two halves. Like for example, in the case of starfish, it shows radial symmetry, and it has 5 axes of symmetry. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there are 5 radii for it, and therefore it can be cut from 5 different radii, and you can get exactly two halves from any angle. So such type of symmetry is called as radial symmetry. So not only starfish but even other organisms like sea anemone also shows this body symmetry, radial type of symmetry. Even Hydra or all the cnidarians show the radial type of symmetry. Okay, we are going to study now. Next. Now, third criteria for new system of classification is germ layers. Germ layers are formed during initial period of the embryonic development. You know now what is embryo. Embryo means the one which is formed inside the mother's womb. Okay, when the baby is getting born, I mean baby is just forming. Okay, after 32 when the division of the cell, number of cells is around 32, then it is called as the embryo stage. So during this initial period of the embryonic development, they will be having certain layers for the body. Okay, so these layers are called as germ layers. Okay, they may be either 2 in number or they may be in 3 in number. Okay, so if they are 2 in number, then they will be called as diploblastic, and if they have 3 in number, then it will be called as triploblastic. And from these germ layers itself, different body tissues are formed in animals. Now embryo is only group of cells. From embryo, later on the fetus develop. Now fetus means the baby which is getting developed in the mother's womb. So here this fetus will have all the different body parts, but they are formed from where? From the germ layers of the embryo. Okay, so from these germ layers only different body tissues are formed in animals. Okay, so according to the number of germ layers, they are called as either diploblastic, as in the case of cnidarians like Hydra show diploblastic, and triploblastic by platyhelminthes show triploblastic development, whereas in the case of porifera there is no presence of any germ layer. So diploblastic means what? 2 layers. So they are ectoderm and endoderm. You can see in the diagram here there are only 2 layers. One is ectoderm and endoderm. Whereas in the case of triploblastic there are 3 layers. Okay, including mesoderm. So ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. So mesoderm is the middle layer, ectoderm is the outer layer, and endoderm is the innermost layer. So such animals which have 3 layers will be called triploblastic, and 2 layers diploblastic. Okay, now next we will see on the basis of body cavity. Now the fourth criteria is body cavity, whether the animals have the presence of body cavity or not. Accordingly they will be called body cavity. Accordingly this body cavity is also called, another term for body cavity is called as coelom. Now what is this coelom? Coelom is a body cavity which is there present inside a cavity in which all other organs will be present. So suppose body cavity or coelom is the cavity between the body and the internal organs. Okay. Now earthworm also you can see. Now this has the presence of body cavity. The blue color which is shown is nothing but the coelom. Okay, and it is mostly formed from the mesoderm, the layer called as mesoderm. That means the middle layer which is there, it forms the coelom. Okay, now just now you have learned about germ layers, in which one layer is mesoderm. Derm means skin, remember that. Okay, meso means middle, ecto means outer, endo means inner. So mesoderm forms, that is a middle layer, forms the coelom or the body cavity. In the case of earthworm, it shows body cavity. Fine. So from the phylum Annelida. Now phylum Annelida includes earthworm. Okay, so includes earthworm, leeches. Okay, all these are coming under phylum Annelida. So from phylum Annelida to the higher phylum, all the higher phylums have the presence of body cavity. Fine. Whereas the lower, so when they have the presence of a true body cavity, then it will be called as eucoelomates. Okay, when they have the presence of true body, eu means the meaning of the word eu means eu means true. So when they have the presence of body cavity, they will be called as true coelomates or eucoelomates. Fine. Whereas certain organisms have the absence of, they do not have the presence of this body cavity. Like for example, planaria belongs to the phylum platyhelminthes. They do not have the presence of body cavity. So such organisms are called as, acoelomates or acoelomates. Okay, fine. So which are the phylums which do not have body cavity are the first phylum, that is Porifera, second phylum, that is Cnidaria, third phylum, that is Platyhelminthes. They do not have the presence of a body cavity. So they are called as acoelomates. They are called as acoelomates. Fine. And the third one which is in between, neither they do not have the body cavity nor do they have the body cavity. That means it is type of a pseudo cavity, body cavity. That means fake or false. Pseudo, the meaning of the word pseudo means false body cavity. So if they have a false body cavity, you can see in this case it has the presence of false body cavity. So these type of organisms are called as pseudocoelomates. Okay, so example, roundworm, or all the organisms belong to the middle one, that is Escalminthes. Okay, see in Porifera is first, Cnidaria is second, third is Platyhelminthes. All of them are acoelomates. Whereas Escalminthes, which is the fourth phylum, has the presence of pseudocoelom. And after Escalminthes is Annelida and higher phylums, they all have the presence of body cavity. So from not to, in between to true, they have body cavity. Fine. So acoelomates, pseudocoelomates and eucoelomates. Those who have the presence of body cavity, they are called as true eucoelomates. Those who don't have the body cavity, they are called as acoelomates. And those who have false body cavity, they are called as pseudocoelomates. So this is regarding the body cavity. Next we have something called as body segmentation. If the body of the animals is divided into small and similar units, then such a body is called a segmented body. You might have seen an earthworm. On the earthworm there are small segments, lines are there, correct? No? So these small units or similar, which are of us at a same distance, similar units they are made up of. So such units are called as segments, and such a body wherein there are many segments is called as segmented body. Like for example, earthworm shows or annelids show the presence of segmentation. So examples of body segmentation, mostly annelids have, that is leech. You might have seen leech. Okay, mostly zaru it is called in Marathi. Okay, you get it in the farms, fields and all. Okay, and earthworm. Fine, both of them have the presence of body segmentation. So this is regarding the different criteria of system of classification. First one was the body organization. Second one, we have learned about the body symmetry. We have learned about the germ layers, body cavity and body segmentation. I hope so you have understood all the different terms related to this. Now based on this only we are going to learn about our different system of classification. Again, this kingdom Animalia, you can see depending upon body organization, body symmetry, body cavity, they are divided into 10 phylums. Okay, now here protozoa is not included, whereas first now phylum is Porifera, which is having cellular grade organization, because our cellular grade organization, it has asymmetrical body, it is acoelomate. So Porifera, which is the lowermost or least evolved among the animals. Then the tissue or organ system grade organization, there are again based on radial symmetry. Okay, and in radial symmetry again acoelomate, Cnidaria. Then bilateral symmetry who are showing, in that bilateral symmetry you get different types of body cavity: acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and eucoelomate. Acoelomate Platyhelminthes, pseudocoelomate Escalminthes and eucoelomate from the Annelida. So this is now the new system of classification based on the different criteria. Fine. Now let us move on to the first phylum, that is phylum Porifera. Okay, so accordingly kingdom Animalia is broadly classified into 10 phyla, that is Porifera, Cnidaria, Platyhelminthes, Escalminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, and Chionodermata, Hemichordata and So this is regarding the criteria for new system of classification. So in the next video we are going to learn about phylum Porifera and phylum Cnidaria. I hope so you have understood. So till we meet again in the next video, bye and thank you dear students. Thank you.